Wesley Hunt won the Republican primary back in March in what hardly seemed like a fair fight. He won by 34 percentage points over the former mayor of Bel Air, Cindy Siegel, leaving the other four people in the race well back in the pack. Not bad for a guy who's never run for public office before. What's the attraction, you ask? Good morning to Wesley Hunt. You can ask him. I'm going to ask him, actually. Congratulations on your primary win, Mr. Hunt. It's good to see you here. So why do you think you were able to win that primary so handily?
You know, I think, the big thing is my team and I put a lot of work in. We knocked on over 100,000 doors. We made the phone calls, did the phone banking, had a very strong coalition of a lot of people ranging from young and old, black, white. We loved it. And I think that hard work is really what got us through. And most importantly, I think people also appreciate the service aspect of my background and somebody that is a West Point graduate. My brother's also a West Point graduate. My sister is a West Point graduate as well. So all three of us went, and my dad did 23 years of active duty here in the U.S. Army. And so when you start to add that up and people seeing a service-minded person that wants to continue to serve on the next level, I think that's really what got us over the hump.
You're part of a concerted effort by the National Republican Party to field a more diverse group of candidates. That's what's been happening across the country. What message do you have to your constituents, your potential constituents, beyond the chance to have more diversity? What is it that you think that will resonate with your folks who are going to vote potentially for you that will tell them, okay, you're going to be able to beat Lizzie Fletcher? What is it in that process you think is going to help you beat her?
Certainly. My time in the Army taught me about how to work together. When you're in combat and you're flying, I was an Apache pilot in the Army, and, I deployed to Iraq in 2006. And when you're flying combat missions, no one cares if you're a D or an R. We need to get things done for this district. And quite frankly, Lizzie Fletcher broke her promise from day one, when she voted for Nancy Pelosi to be the Speaker of the House. And she has since then voted with her 98% of the time. And this is a moderate district. It's actually an R+7 district. And that's just not the voice that we need up in Washington. Right now, we need jobs. This is the energy capital of the world. The energy corridor is fully encompassed in this district. And right now, our energy jobs are hurting. And Nancy Pelosi's agenda and Lizzie Fletcher, who has voted with her 98% of the time, is just not what we need right now. We need a voice for our industry here in Houston and D.C., and that's why I'm here, and that's why I'm running.
So it sounds like you are more inclined to vote the opposite of what Lizzie Fletcher has voted, which means that you are more aligned with President Trump. Are you aligned with President Trump on issues across the board? How closely aligned are you with him? The reason I ask you that is because the 2018, a lot of Republicans were knocked out of office because of, political experts will say, some backlash against President Trump. What do you think about that, and how closely aligned are you, and will that help or hurt you?
Sure, sir. Great question. Certainly, from a policy standpoint, I do agree with President Trump on a lot of things, particularly in how he wants to handle the oil and gas industry. Right now, the presumptive nominee is going to be Joe Biden. He has already committed to no new fracking. Do you know what that does to Houston, Texas? And I'm here to tell you that if Joe Biden calls Nancy Pelosi and Nancy Pelosi calls Lizzie Fletcher, they're going to have her vote, but they're not going to have my vote. In this latest round of spending, Nancy Pelosi proposed a $3 trillion bill, and not a single dime is going to the oil and gas industry that has been hit extremely hard over the course of the past few months. And what I do know about President Trump and that administration is that they are certainly pro-oil and gas, they are certainly pro-energy, and the best way for us to get out of this crisis with coronavirus and with the oil and gas and with the fall of the oil and gas industry is to make sure that we get people back to work, rebuild our economy, and bring jobs back. And the one thing the Trump administration has done is that created one of the best economies that we have seen in the history of this country, and also the lowest unemployment for all races, for all people, in the modern era of this country.
Certainly.
We've got to get back to that. And quite frankly, I think that's going to win the day in this district.
Certainly, it was a continuation of an economic turnaround that had happened previously, and it was a continuation, and it made it better. I certainly don't want to give credit where credit is not due in terms of creating it. But if you win, you take an office at a time when the nation is more divided than ever in a lot of different ways, politically and now racially, with the tragic death up in Minneapolis. What are you going to be able to do to help change that dynamic?
Working together. working together. And the one thing that I always like to talk about as being an African-American man, I like to look at people and give people as much opportunity as they can. Again, I always go back to economics. I always go back to creating jobs. That's the great equalizer. That actually, jobs don't care what race, color, or creed you are. And that's what we have to build back in this country. I'll also talk about, being bipartisan. There's nothing more bipartisan than voting with the Speaker of the House 98% of the time, as Wesley Fletcher has done. And so being able to take those values that I learned from the military, mission first, how to work together to accomplish a mission, that's what I want to bring to Washington. And what's also interesting, especially right now in the height of this racial contention that I can't ignore, is the idea of we got to work together. The only way that we can solve the ills of this country is if white people work with black people and Hispanic people, across all walks of life, across the board. It's not just one group of people that hurts. Americans hurt.
Wesley,
so we have to make sure their identity is just that.
Wesley, thank you so much for your time this morning. Congratulations again on your primary win. Thank you for your willingness to serve the people of the 7th Congressional District. Thank you.
Thank you. God bless you. Be safe. Thank you.